the Noah program. With no further hesitation, man of the hour, Noah Yates.
I want to thank everybody for coming. We really appreciate it. Surprised about. I'm going to say this easy, and that way when I say something later you'll understand. I have 3 sons. I have 3 daughters. The others, some people would say, my daughter-in-law. I don't have daughter-in-law. I have daughters.
Thank you.
So I want to introduce the family. I'd like to see Nick's family to stand up so we can know who Nick's family is.
And there's another one.
We're going to have Alex's family now to stand up. And we're going to have Jacob's family stand up. So let me just share some things with you. We have restrooms. If you go into the foyer back this way, the ladies' restroom is there. If you're a gentleman, you go outside. Remember this door that you came in? Well, when you go out, hang a right, and go down just a little bit, and you'll see a sign that says men and go in there.
It's unlocked now. It's unlocked.
It's still a it's unlocked. So we have a lot of music equipment here. We want it's all in good shape. We want to stay in good shape. If anybody sees a child going in there, I don't care who the child belongs to, we want them to get them out of there. Please, please. And that includes my grandchildren. We don't want anything here because there's people who are kind enough to let us be here tonight, and I don't want any accidents. Well, we're here to celebrate Nancy's 70th birthday. And, well, I'm going to concentrate on her. And then I'm going to talk about who is the real Nancy, because so many people know things about her, but there's a whole bunch they don't. So we're going to have a little bit of fun. We're going to do good, serious stuff. If you heard, and I know people in this room, there is stories that come today, they're going to say, I've heard that story. Say that mentally to yourself, please don't ruin it, especially if I'm going for a punchline. So, I went to a church dance, and it was here in San Diego, and I just came in from the Navy boot camp and was transferred to San Diego, and which was a blessing. At the time, I did not know that. Oh, okay. And so what it is I always like dark-haired girls. Always. No exceptions. And so I go to these dances, and then after a while, these 2 blondes showed up. And pretty attractive, both of them. But they didn't have dark hair. So the thing is as time went by, I noticed they keep laughing. They were always laughing. And it got my attention. And after a while, it's like, maybe I should get to know them. So I asked this one out. Her name was Nancy. So I asked her out on the floor, and we were dancing, and I'm going, I'm in trouble. She dances a lot better than I do. I wonder if I asked her a second time if she'd actually say yes. And I was shocked she did. But, so I was there was guys in the Navy that heard from other friends of mine about I was dating this girl with dark hair, it looks like Raquel Welch, and and so what happened is one guy, he wanted to see her, so he said, my wife and I want to go on a picnic, and we want to go up to Quaker Mountain. And what we like to do is once you invite that girl that you're dating, the dark-haired girl. So I thought, without knowing it, I said, I'm interested in this one blonde girl. I wonder if I actually invite her out. And I did. She said yes. What was really funny, we went over to pick him up, and everybody was in the car was, I think it was this other girl. This blonde shows up. And so, what's really funny, she's inside, and she's getting ready, and I'm outside, and I'm talking to Nancy's mom. So we had a nice chit chat going on, and then her dad comes by, and then John was up in the tree, trimming the tree. So I got to see him, but didn't get introduced to him at that time. And so on the way out, her dad hollers at me. He says, "Remember, her brothers have to approve you." And she's going, "Dad." She couldn't believe that her dad did that to her. And I had asked her, "Had they ever done it before?" And said, "No." I said, "I wonder how's he reading me?" Like that. So what it is, we went out there. We had some food and ate the food, but it was in February, and there was still snow on the ground in certain spots. So I thought, if we're going to go up Coyamac Mountain, and she told us it only takes 45 minutes to get up there. She took out all the zeros that goes with it to actually get up there. So what it is I thought, well, I think I'll use the restroom before I go up. So I walk out of her restroom, and I get hit with a snowball in the face. This is my first date with this girl, and she's hit me in the face with a snowball. And I look over, and she's getting another snowball. So I said, "Heck with this, get out my snowball." I'm from Ohio, I know how to use snowballs. And so I get packed it up, and I hit her, and she giggled. And I went, "Oh man, this isn't one of those girls, does something and then shuts you off." So that's how we got started. So we go up to Coyamac, and we had a great time up there. We actually could see all of the California, Mexican, sorry, my brain knows what to say, but my tongue says no. We got the Mexican islands out there, and we can see that. We can look over, and we can see the lake. Okay, what's the lake over there to the seas? Salt Sea, thank you. You keep me there, you keep me on. Appreciate that. And we had a good time, and I kissed her for the first time. And I never, ever had a kiss like that. And I dated a lot of girls. I mean,
Where's Grant?
if you didn't hear what this table said over here, the brothers are still here. So the thing is, I decided, we need to go back down, and we kept kissing on the way down. I guess that's one of the weird things that happened one time. So I don't know, at 30 some odd kisses, by the time I go to the bottom, it was just an awesome kiss. And I couldn't believe it. So I made it back when we dropped her off at the house, and I made it back to the dairy. And I did dating's the wrong word. I've been hanging around these four ladies. It's like, if they were free, we would go to the movies. It was not a date. None of them were dates. It was just people that I knew, and if they were free, they said, "Yeah, let's go for," and sometimes it'd be somebody else. So I'm not busy I'm busy that night, when then I'd ask one of the other girls, and so I got on the phone after all that kissing. And I went and called them up and said, "I just want to let you know, I found somebody." And so I talked to all four of the girls and told them, including the one that was close. So the thing is, I hung up the phone and went, "Oh my God, I don't have a date with her. I gotta go back. She might not want to date with me. No, I didn't burn bridges with four women. What the heck am I thinking?" So the thing is I called her up, said, would you like to go out next weekend? She said, yes. I went, So, I'm being nice to you because I'm not going to tell you everything about Nancy, but I'm going to just give you highlights, okay? If you want more later, come see me. So we ended up at Camp Oliver, Wisconsin, as time went by that year, and we were around the campfire, and some of us decided that it was a church retreat thing. Maybe she should sit here now. So the thing is so in the retreat, the second night it was very comfortable weather, and we thought, well, a bunch of us said, let's stick around the campfire. And so we did. So Nancy, so we were talking to each other, other people were doing things, other things, and so forth. And so she proposed it to me. Now she's over there going, no, I didn't. She did.
There seems to be some disagreement.
I love being able to say it. I made a mistake though. I should have said, I'll be honest, I should have said, yes, I said take your proposal of marriage. No, all I said was, okay. Later I went, why did I say okay for it? Instead of fake words. So time rolled around, and that weekend, the 53rd weekend after that, we got married. And there's only two things I would change in my marriage. The first one is, I wish I'd married her sooner. Because the Navy called me off, I was saying, there you go. I had actually a command asking me for me in person, and then apparently they said, after that, you're going to Vietnam, you're going to the country, and people like shoot at you. So the thing is I said there was two things. I'm going to say the last one for Wes. So we'll say that there. When I received my orders to go to Vietnam, I was there. We was in the barracks. I worked on the flight line, got promotion, all kinds of good stuff, Navy stuff. The truth of the matter is, it was a real education. I'm glad I went. But, you know, you get lonely. You want that special lady with you. And so I got some mail one day, and this showed up. This is the original paper. I took this picture when she was her 21st birthday. Early, so what was really funny is I hang it up into my barracks and guys come by. And I should back up a little bit. When the Marine Corps or the Army comes into someplace, they bring the whole group in and they're there. And when they're done, the whole group picks up and they go. And the Navy was not like that. What the Navy did is you would come in, there may be 4 or 5 onions come in, and as you came in, 4 or 5 guys went home. So it's always that way. So after a while, I was at 12 months, so I learned, got to know a lot of different people during that 12 months. So this would be hanging over the wall and people come along. Who's that? That's my wife. Yeah, right. I can't believe they all use the same word. Yeah, right. Because it's like they say yeah, right when you go by through. I don't know. All I know is it was always like that. Never good. So what was really funny is I came home and then there was some people would come when they get go home and they got assignments in San Diego and so forth like that. The phone would ring, can I come over and pay you this? And I go, wow, okay. Somebody that was with me in Vietnam, they're coming over and I'd be telling Nancy, oh, okay, so-and-so's coming over, thing like that. And I finally figured out why I got so many when I came over. They all wanted to know, was that true? You must be lying, it can't be true. And so they were all surprised, wow, she is a good one. I talked about heroes. I'm reading a book right now. It's called "Don't Call Me a Hero," and it got me thinking. And the book is nothing new in that conversation with me about heroes. You know, there are heroes, like somebody pulls somebody out of a burning car or something like that. But a football player is not a hero. A movie star is not a hero. It's the person, you talk to any military person, they'll tell you who the hero is. It's the person that did not come home. But there was, and there is, heroes. And the heroes, because I don't feel like this one, is the spouse who stays home. I know I'm okay. She knows nothing. And it's on the news, then they got hit with cars, all that stuff, like that. So I got a question. I don't want anybody to be backstabbed. Is there anybody in this room besides Nancy that was a spouse of somebody in the military, overseas, or any place? Would they stand up, please? All those women. Stay standing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. So now, when you go home, when 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you can tell people, I saw 5 real heroes. So in 1975, rolled along and we bought a house here in Mira Mesa and became residents in Mira Mesa. We got invited to do a lot of things. You know, there was, Mira Mesa was still on the news side, so that was going on. There was a planning group, that town councils and all that stuff was taking place. So Nancy ended up being the Mira Mesa Rec Center president. And so, Councilman Jill Johnson, he made the recreation system happen. He went out on a limb and fought against the other the councilors to get the money to make that happen. And so there was an election, but he didn't win the election. But the gentleman by the name of Councilman Bill Mitchell, he won. So there's a group of us that was talking in the community groups and says, you know, if it hadn't been for him, we would have never had this building, or it had been so long in the future, we would never have it. Somebody got to do something about that. And so they got talking, maybe they should name the building after him. Well, you know how it is. It's got to be dead before you get something named after it. Anything like that. Who says that? There's no rule that says that. And so they were talking, we should get somebody to go talk to the councilman, the new councilman, to see what happens. So Nancy said, okay, I'll go. She goes over. Within a very short period of time, the new councilman said, that's a great idea. We should do that, because he did. He knew about what he had done to get the rec center for us. And so they did it, and Nancy and well, I should back up a second. Gil Johnson was at a party, and they were celebrating Pete Wilson was there at the time, and he said, we don't want to have a party to see you off. He thought, well, that was nice, you know, I lost the election, and they want to see me off, that's fine. He then heard an announcement that they were going to name the rec center after him. And he stood up and sat back down and said, I don't know what to do. And this is such a shock. And because you don't do this, wait until they're dead. And so Nancy was the one that got out there and made it happen, which doesn't surprise me. And what they did, when they cut the ribbon, she cut half of it, he cut the other half. At the same time, we were involved in, like I said, he got involved in this and Mira Mesa, and there's this thing called SPACE, S-P-A-C-E. Save Penny King, Save Penny, it's the King.
Thank you.
I was just there this morning. Save Mosquitoes area for community and environmental. And the thing is so the group got started, And they came along, and they thought I was a troublemaker, some of the people, trying to get this thing off the ground. We want to save the canyon, we don't want a big rifle range down there with the thing, we don't want a golf course down there, we don't want a freeway going down through there. We want to save this canyon and make it look the way it is. And if you haven't been down there lately, you'll be very proud about how it is right now. It's really nice. And so we did that, and they said, you know, we don't want you to be in our group, but we'll take it away. I went, you guys just killed yourself. And she, there one time, they gets up there and Pete Wilson's making a comment, and she did not like the comment, and she went after her. And he kept saying, you're not recognized. And she didn't stop, she just kept going. Roger Hickok, in the old days when Roger Hickok was a nice guy. Right? And the thing is he was county board supervisor at the time, he was sitting next to me. And what it is she would not let go. Finally, one of the other councilmen says, let her talk, she isn't going to stop. And so she said, what it is they're going to give us to this one room and they would take care of it. Well, that group told us that they wouldn't do anything for us. And so the mayor, after the mayor heard what she said, he said, I'll make sure that they'll work with us. And so we started getting some headway. Bill Hanks is not here. I'm sorry to say that. But Bill Hanks, Nancy, myself, Mrs. Fleming, is made that council happen. We worked with Roger Hickok. We worked with Mitchell, and eventually became a county, city combination canyon. And so that's another time where Nancy was doing her thing. Moving on, Nancy worked at Happy Time Preschool in her house for 20 years. She would have, and you're going to see some slides, and you'll see her wearing a helmet. She's got some pilots. This is one of the dads of the kids. She's wearing his outfit. The firemen, and there was all of them. She would get more people. I mean, it's amazing. If you look at some of the pictures, and here in our garage, we got a ton of people, guys flying fighter jets and everything else. They want to be there with their child to see, because of the way Nancy did her 20 years of working on that. The time went by, and she decided, well, that, I don't know, maybe I forgot, that she did that for 20 years. So, I got a story, sidebar. So, I work downtown, high rise, 18th floor, and I would catch the bus, and I would come home, get off the bus, and I start walking to our house, and it's over a month. So, see, they're laughing already. So what it is our vehicle goes by, I'm still walking. And I know what you're thinking, she didn't see me. No, she waved at me when she went by. I guess I got a message or something. And then, let me tell you, since I'm doing that, I might just tell you about another one. I get off the bus, it's raining. It's one of the storms that we've ever seen. And it's this border, and it's actually hours before dark, but this storm is so heavy, it's dark. And I get off the bus, start walking. I don't have an umbrella, I don't have a jacket. And so I get home, and I walk into the kitchen, and she's there at the sink, the dishes or whatever, I don't remember what it was. They probably get ready for dinner. And I went, hey, did you see the rain? She said, oh, it's been pouring, and the rain's been hitting the window, and I can't believe how heavy it is. And I thought, any particular reason why I was the only one not greeted by somebody that picked come up? Oh, really? You know, you're wet. She became known as the bird lady of the Mesa. There's a lot of birds, she worked different groups, and what it is they, maybe something would happen to the bird, and people would bring it to her, some of them were immature, and people would bring it to her, and also she had owls. So I'll come back to the word owls in a minute. But what it is, she would take care of them. And so I want to say something that say, you know, when these people will say, oh, there's this bird over running around the garden. Man, it took me 2 hours to catch it. That's because the parents are up there wishing you can go home and leave the bird alone. Because you can't believe how many, man, it took you 2 hours to get it. Well, why did you waste your time, man? Because the parents will take care of it. And then they go and say, so don't do that. And the other thing it says, and then there's always something, you don't want to do that because they can smell humans and that. And they, you know, the parents won't do that. Birds can't smell. So a lot of people don't know that. But they also would be, we get a phone call, I got a possum in my front yard dead. And what the word possum means? You know what it means? So the thing is, once you wait a half an hour and the bee calls back up, he's still dead. They play possum. In case you didn't catch doing that. So, yeah, she was so involved with them. Like one, I remember Father's Day, and she had a bunch of birds, and she was real busy doing the birds. We didn't have Father's Day because she was taking care of so many little ones. And so we ended up with an aviary in the backyard, not there today. But the thing is we had tons of them, and the kids loved it. In the neighborhood, they go over and they actually learn what the birds were. You know, so that's what that bird looks like when they say it's a house finch, things like that. So that was very popular.
God bless.
She became later, the family got involved in scouting. I was 23 years involved in scouting here in Romania. And she ended up at Camp Balboa, which is the camp director. And she was doing that while she was doing all that other stuff we talked about. And she became a Boy Scout assistant scoutmaster. And you hear from I don't know, there are people here, their comment was always made. It's great for the boys to be out there with a man because what it is more than in the high 60% of scouts, those Boy Scouts and Boy Scouts do not have two parents, they have one. So the thing is they say that they need to see a man in action. And that's true, except that they forgot him. And I had people tell me I was doing it wrong, but they finally figured out that we were doing it right. What they really need to see is a man talking to a woman and working as a team. That's what they need to see. And so Nancy and I did that. Give Nancy credit for stepping up to do it because there's a lot of people said she didn't deserve to be in that position. I mean, I don't care. She made all the requirements, and so she's there. And it started to grow because other people would learn. There would be training. She'd be training. She would get that point across to a lot of women. She later became PTA at Stanford Elementary School and was very active there. So they decided that they should have something different. You know, schools got this, that. They all got it. So she decided, let's do something different. Why don't we make a map of the world out of cakes? So we went out to each classroom. We want you to get two parents and get was it 13 size, 9 or 13 size cake. And what it is, we'd have each one would make a cake. And we would give them a drawing of, okay, this is what your cake should look like. It should have the blue for the water, it should have this. And so we put it around. And so when it's all said and done, they had a big stage like this. And they actually had the whole world made out of cakes. So why? Two little kids were reading the bulletin board that says on Friday, we're going to, they heard somebody talking. On Friday, we're going to have an earthquake. That's what they thought they heard. And what they really heard was, on Friday, we're going to have her cakes. So the kids are hustling in to talk to one of the teachers and says, are we really having an earthquake on Friday? So he says, but it's really great. It's amazing how the parents got together. Even one made the wall of China and their cake and things like that. It was nice. And I think they had a bite. But it was nice. Everybody went with good food. So, she finally decided, because when we, have a seat. So it was nice to have I see that, Nick. So now that's the place great. So she decided. Okay, so what it is she decided, what happened was when we got married and we thought I was originally going to be there longer in San Diego, she ended up being a student teacher, and she decided she wanted to step back so she could spend the last 30 days I had at home to be with me, which I appreciated at the same time. So she had to go back to school, but at that time, guess what? She was pregnant. So she's hiking around on the 99 steps at San Diego State, and she finally decided, okay, I got a new baby. We'll just I'll come back and do it. Well, time went by, she didn't come back to do it. So she finally says, I want to go back and get my degree. And she did. She went to Miramar College first to get caught up on the stuff that they were saying you got to do it again. And then she ended up getting her degree. And she told me, she said, when she kind of like needs some encouragement. And she said, you know, I'm going to be 50. I said, you're going to be 50 no matter what. So the thing is when she's 50 years old, her brother Tom and I got to see her get her diploma. And we were very proud of that. She ended up being a student, what do they call it? Substitute teacher. And it was at the time, for some reason, at Sanford School, a lot of the teachers were getting pregnant. And so they would need a teacher for the first half a year, and then there'd be another teacher they need for the half a year, and so she ended up taking up the spot. Well, what was going on at that same time, she was doing that bird lady stuff. And I'll tell you one